A week and a half till WrestleMania. And still that fire from Cody Rhodes is not being felt. And should the WWE add to the women's division a mid-tier championship belt?
And here we go.
Is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Glad you stopped by. And if you're brand new, welcome. Grab a seat and stay a while. But do me a couple favors first. Go down and hit that subscribe button. Go next door, ring that bell. Make sure it says all so you know when the next video pops up. Hit that like button. And before you head out, drop a comment. And if you're one of the regulars here, welcome back for another round. I ask that you also hit that like button. And before you leave, drop a comment, because YouTube does love the comments. And of course, share the video out on all social media. All right, so make sure tonight, 7 p.m., simulcasting from Legion Talk, myself, Ryan Legion, Left Eye Ego, and Tyler the Red Edbeard will be going over WrestleMania predictions. Check that out, guys. All right, as I said, we got a week and a half. A week and a half. And 2 shows left, one SmackDown and one Raw, before the Showcase of the Immortals goes live in Philadelphia. Now, with storylines and matches still kind of in flux, let's see what happened on last week's shows, and with something that I think will help the women's division that is starting to get real crowded at the top.
Here we go. Here we go.
So, we're going to start off with last Friday's SmackDown, in which The Rock was not scheduled to appear. Well, all this meant that the show had a chance to actually flow properly without being hijacked like it has been for the previous 3 weeks.
Thank God that's over.
Yeah.
So we started off with Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. A match that could have been a WrestleMania quality match was simply a setup for Rey Mysterio and Dominic again. We had some more qualifying tag team matches to move on in SmackDown's tournament to go to the 6-pack ladder match. We had Austin Theory and Grayson Waller defeat the OC, and the Street Profits defeated the Authors of Pain. So this Friday, 2 teams amongst the last 4 standing, that is the New Cash Republic, Legado del Fantasma, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller, and the Street Profits will move on to WrestleMania. Naomi took on Io Sky, where Damage Control was at ringside, didn't interfere enough to get disqualified, but just enough for Io to hit the over the moonsault to get the win. Then the gang up began to happen on Naomi. Asuka gave her the mist in the face. Bianca Belair came down to ringside to help out. Crowd started chanting for Bayley, who never came because previously Io Sky kicked her ass in the backstage area. This ended with Damage Control standing victorious over a beaten Bianca and Naomi. Foreshadowing. We also got a promo that Jade Cargill has finally signed officially with SmackDown and will be making her first in-ring appearance next week. Now, the final segment of this show was Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes in their first face-to-face meeting of the entire WrestleMania season. And once again, Cody Rhodes is getting pushed around. And there's just no fire. There's no anger yet from Cody that we saw previously on the Raw. Now, this segment ends with Cody offering Roman a good luck handshake.
Seriously?
And I gotta say, making Cody appear weak around Rock and Roman is not helping him look like the soon-to-be champion. But, you know.
Oh, it's all part of the show.
And now that brings us to this past Monday on Raw from Chicago. What a crowd Chicago is. So the show starts off with Cody Rhodes coming out to cut a promo where he's talking about Roman Reigns. And much like in the previous week on Raw, we're starting to feel some of that fire that's missing when he's in the presence of Roman and Rock on SmackDown. And Cody starts saying things like, he's sorry that he won the Royal Rumble, talking to Roman, and ruined his, and I quote, WrestleMania wankfest with his cousin. Cue the Rock's music. I'm sorry, what? The Rock was not advertised to appear here, but there he is. Makes his way slowly down to the ring to throngs of Rocky sucks chants. That Chicago crowd was amazing. Comes into the ring. They have a stare down. The crowd's just going nuts. They're not saying a word. Rock approaches Cody, puts his hands up, puts them behind his back, leans in, and whispers something to Cody. Cody's face looks a bit distressed. And The Rock just walks away.
Yikes!
Now that was just one of the promos. That was amazing. The second one, oh my gosh. Because out comes Chicago's own second city saint. That's right, CM Punk comes out. And he's talking about a bunch of folks. He's got a lot of things to say. Talking about Roman Reigns. And since CM Punk's return, he's moving up the mountain. Roman's coming down the mountain. They'll meet somewhere along the way. Talks about Seth Rollins, they've never seen eye to eye, mostly now because Seth Rollins wears high-heeled shoes. But that's a conversation for another time. He talks about someone who hasn't talked about CM Punk, that being The Rock. Makes a reference to 10 years ago when The Rock found out that his arms were just not long enough to box with God. And then he starts talking about Drew McIntyre. Right on cue, Drew McIntyre's music hits. CM Punk cuts that off real quick. And those two just start exchanging zingers back and forth. Mind you, this was unscripted. By the way, this was awesome. Drew said something to the effect of, Punk, you're straight edge. You don't drink. You don't do drugs. Yet points to his arm and says, yet you spend more time in rehab.
Damn.
Burn! And Drew McIntyre makes a reference to past when he was referred to as the chosen one. Oh, CM Punk could not resist this one. When he says, oh, really? You're the chosen one. Well, who called you that, Drew? What paragon of virtue called you the chosen one?
Spicy.
Damn. And then, of course, Seth Rollins has to jump in and join the fun. And Seth talked about their match at the WrestleMania between him and Drew. And once CM Punk in the front row as a commentator during that match. Now, this just added to the hype when CM Punk says, well, I'll be able to do, with me on commentary, I'll be able to do something neither of you two have done for the last 10 years. Make yourselves interesting. Wow, guy is a national treasure. Now, the final segment of the show was Jey Uso versus Shinsuke Nakamura. The Bloodline came out to interfere. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins came out to assist Jay. We end up in the back, where Cody is fending off Jimmy, he's fending off Solo, and then from behind gets blasted by The Rock. He's driven outside, gets kicked around, punched around, thrown against his own bus. His face starts to bleed. The Rock brings out a weight belt. It says Mama Rhodes. And he says, "Look at your son, Mama Rhodes." Takes some of the blood off of Cody's face, wipes it on the belt. And now we know what The Rock whispered to Cody at the beginning of the show. Tonight, you bleed.
That's truly terrifying.
Now, as good as that was for Raw, and that was an amazing show for Raw, and SmackDown has been, and we're starting to build some excitement to some of these matches, finally, there were still some notable superstars who still have no clear path, or not yet defined path, to WrestleMania, particularly female superstars. And it got me to think about the women's division as a whole, and that it's getting very crowded when it comes to the championship conversation. I mean, right at the top, you've got names like Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, when she comes back from rehab, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, you got Liv Morgan. Not to mention, soon to be knocking on that door will be Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. So there's not a lot of opportunities for WWE female superstars to get into a title conversation or to really elevate themselves, unless the WWE puts two singles competitors into a makeshift tag team to challenge for a title that really doesn't get a lot of push.
That makes no sense.
Now, I think I have a solution. A women's mid-tier championship, much like the men have the Intercontinental Championship and the U.S. Championship. Now, this will be one title, and that will float between the brands, much like the tag team champions do for both sides, men and women. Simply because there's not enough the women on the roster to justify two of these. But now, who should be the first to hold this inaugural title? And should it be a face or should it be a heel? Well, I've thought of both, and I think if you're going to go with a face, the answer should be Naomi. Because since returning from TNA, where she was the big fish in a small pond, she's a medium fish in a much bigger pond now, and she hasn't really done much. And because of her previous status as a former SmackDown champion, a TNA champion, this will give that title some instant credibility. Now, if you want to go with a face, a heel, the obvious choice, again, to me, would be someone like Tiffany Stratton. I mean, her in-ring ability, as we've talked about numerous times, is just off the chart. And with her bratty personality for her character, this is a perfect match for feuds and rivalries.
By George, I think he's got it.
But these are just my thoughts. I'm going to turn it back over to you. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Check me out again. Like I said, tonight, Legion Talk simulcasting here for the big WrestleMania prediction show. Check that out. Also, check me out tomorrow night, Roman of the Empire, talking about the movie Almost Famous. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by, folks. Again, quick reminder before you head out the door, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, hey, thanks for sticking around this long. I appreciate that. I will see you guys all very soon. Hope you're having a great week. Have a great rest of the week ahead of you. And always have fun. Hashtag keep talking and always Keep that smile on your face. Toodles.